So I'm going to give my initial thoughts on Marvel's new film, Fantastic Four First Steps, which I've been looking forward to for a long time. And my spoiler video is going to come later because I'm being dragged out again to watch this film. So if I'm going to put up with it twice, was it worth the wait? Because I was looking forward to it. Is it worth watching a second time? Well, yeah, it really is. And please don't forget that this movie has 2 post-credit scenes. That's quite important, don't miss that. So the Fantastic Four, where to begin? Well, quite easy. The family, the Fantastic Four. How do the other renditions get that wrong by not focusing in enough on them being a family who happen to be superheroes? And they do a brilliant job with this, just with the dynamics. So from the very beginning, I thought from the trailer it looked good, but I would actually say that it exceeded my expectations with how well they weaved it together. Just brilliant. I mean, it would be remiss of me to talk about brilliant without saying Reed Richards playing Pedro Pascal. I mean, no, seriously, Pedro Pascal does a brilliant job here again. I mean, did we actually expect any less? That wasn't over-delivering. That was just Pedro Pascal level. I also actually quite enjoyed the thing. I mean, especially, he's out in the streets, impressing some kids, pushing a car over his head, as you do. But to be honest, Sue Storm, Johnny Storm, they were great as well. I mean, the relationship between Sue and Reed, I mean, you'll see it, but I just love this. I thought they got this completely right. And they never compromised the family moments, the sort of heartfelt moments, by doing comedy, which Marvel, as you might have guessed if you've watched a lot of Marvel, can be slightly guilty of at times. Then we come to the villains. Silver Surfer, great. Galactus, completely exceeded my expectations again, because Galactus is hard to do. Again, they didn't ruin it with comedy, which is great. I didn't actually expect them to with Galactus, to be fair, but the voice was right. Galactus felt intimidating. It didn't feel at all like campy or not scary. And I wasn't so much scared of the campy. I was so much scared of the, is it actually going to look goofy or not? And they stick to the comic book route. And guess what? It's great. It works really well. You actually feel that the stakes are high in this. And that brings me on to the world building, because when we talk about the stakes, the world building is important here. We're not in an origin story, which is again great, a bit like Superman. We kind of got thrust in, so okay, you lose a couple of bits by not doing the origin, but do we need an origin story? The MCU needed this movie to be successful, and we've had so many origin MCU stories, so many bad ones recently. We just needed this to work. So you go into a world, it feels like it's complete. It just feels like basically, right, we're here, it's not too overwhelming, but let us get, kind of ease you in. A bit like a new employee at a company, there's a lot of stuff kind of going on, but not too much, so just ease yourself in. We're going to paint the world in, we're going to tell you about some bits, get you used to everyone, don't worry about it, it's cool. And they do a good job with that. So it doesn't feel like we've missed anything. We haven't had to go through, we have to go through the origin story, then we have to get to the actual bit that we want to get to. We don't need that in the MCU at this point. Cinematography was fantastic as well. Actually, the visual effects were better than the trailer showed. I think they might have changed a couple of bits, to be honest, but I'm going to have to go and re-look at that, because I was like, I swear that looked a bit different, but maybe that's just my memory. And the whole 1960s vibe was great. I mean, that's just how the Fantastic Four should be. And it's really like, when you're looking at the technology, because obviously the technology is above the 1960s level, you think to yourself, right, if we had a magazine in the 50s or the 60s, how would they have thought 2025 technology would look? And it looks like that, basically, a la the Jetsons. That's the sort of vibe we should be going for, the Jetsons vibe. And this movie can absolutely be watched as a standalone, which is important because, look, I have found some MCU movies recently to be a bit of a drag. Some of them have been like, I enjoyed Thunderbolts. Wouldn't say it was a classic, but I found some of them to be a bit of a drag, to be honest, series, movies, and the fact that you can watch this as a standalone, it didn't feel like a chore. Now, I did want to go to Fantastic Four before, but someone who's new to the MCU versus us old-timers growing dust in the corner will get just as much out of it as each other. And that's quite important when it comes to something like that, because one of my friends, literally, that's one of her issues with it. She's like, oh my God, do I have to be kept up with it? And then I either have to go, well, yeah, I shouldn't watch this one because it probably won't make any sense, or no, be fine, come along. And I'm like selling it for them. I'm thinking, I'm doing Disney's job for them. But in conclusion, as I said, I will do my spoiler video. The fact that they stuck so close to the comic books, because let's face it, in the past, and I'm talking like 90s especially, 80s, they really didn't want to stick to comic book. I was like, oh, I feel goofy on screen. Well, then why do a comic book movie? I'm not saying it has to be exactly the same. There's some stuff that doesn't translate from the page to the screen. However, that's like little tweaks here and there. That's not big things. If you're taking a thing that is popular, is it not the wise thing to do the thing that was popular rather than take the thing that was popular and mostly change it? It's not that difficult in that sense. I'm not saying I could write a movie, but they kept it at its core, and it just felt right. I mean, Galactus, they went 100% in on Galactus. It worked really well. Shocker. And was the movie perfect? No, I'm not going to say it was a perfect movie. I actually raved about Superman even more, but I would say that wasn't a perfect movie. Probably Superman I slightly preferred, but that's just my personal bias. But it got me excited for Spider-Man, and it got me excited for Avengers for next year. Job done, because Marvel needs to ramp up the anticipation for those movies. But you can enjoy this film without having to watch any of them in the future. It's not a waste of time if you don't watch the ones in the future or any of them in the past. You can just enjoy this. But until then, let me know what you think in the comments below. Like, subscribe, ring the bell, all that good stuff. Your support is appreciated. And until next time, well, until I've been dragged to this movie again, until then, I'll see you later.